that a sneeze or a cough? Michael. Oh, it's a cough, I see. Michael, good morning, Michael. I feel bad that I'm really low in like energy though. Hello, people. Hey, 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 hi, 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 hi. Hello, 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 hello. I missed y'all. Where have you guys been? Was unintentionally unable to stream. How have you guys been? Hello Tanjiro 님이 인사했습니다. Hello Harley. Hello Sasuke Bemi. Dumpling. Hey hey hey. It's the afternoon for me. Good for you. Good for you. So guys, today is not about gaming, it's more about talking stuff. 10 p.m. here, not bad. Isn't that a perfect time?
Yeah, it is the best time.
Have you seen Jen's video? Oh yes, I have. Dumpling. I felt bad for him. I don't know. Man seemed very fed up with the situation and like how people treat him. Yeah.
I got dragged into this, to be honest.
And then he seems very burned out. I was watching his live stream actually when the whole BTK situation was going on, and then people in the chat was just spamming, what do you think about the situation? And Jen just like exploded. Explosion. Good morning, Jioko. Konnichiwa. How's your day? My day is doing good. Yeah.
Good with a sigh.
Yeah.
Now,
See, I'm really scared to do this stream, guys, because like one bad wording and I would get canceled. Kind of, it's like a you know, like, like it's a
fine line.
Yeah, very early morning stream. I know. Kura, go to work. What are you doing? What happened in NA? There's a lot of things happening. So yeah, should we get into it, or do we just?
I think we should.
We're just gonna watch a lot of current NA situation videos. I was asked to do some reactions on it on stream, so I will, and we'll talk about it. I'm gonna ask what you guys think about it. I'm gonna tell you guys what I think about it, and then that's pretty much today's stream. So yeah, let's get into it.
I'm sure you've heard the news.
Whoa, let me change screen. Hold on. Oh my eyes. Guys, y'all ready?
We have been officially banned from the Esports World Cup 2025. The previous video I posted was right after the news was revealed publicly, and didn't include a lot of new things that had developed, not from the ban, but from the previous.
Did you guys watch his first video though? I watched his first video. I hope you guys watched it too.
I didn't.
You didn't?
I watched already.
His first video was about like a little background information, but I think this video should also talk about it. So like, yeah, I think it'll be fine.
That happened on June 27th, recording of the video. I'm quite heartbroken to share with you that we were officially banned last night of July 1st, announced by this Instagram post. As of this Instagram post right here, the official announcement from the MLB Esports official channel. As you can tell, MSC committee is important updates that they are banned, outlined in the MSC penalty index section 2. And I will go over this really quick. This is the section index they're talking about, where team members engage in any competitor game events, activity, live stream, or other way to give competitor game exposure. The competitors' games are defined as MOBA games. And I'm sure you can see all the, violator, permanent suspension. I'm not really going to argue about whether they issued, the proper amount of warnings and whatnot to do this. But here's the rule. Regardless, this still falls into the previous arguments that, they don't really fall into the same time frame. But anywho, that's the official post right here. And right after I saw this, I decided to post the video for the maximum impact reach, right away, before making a more in-depth video explaining everything that happened, because there were quite a few developments that happened between June 27th to now. And for those of you who want to skip to that moment, I'll give you the time frame on the screen. Anywho, as someone who's already committed 2 weeks of their life in a country across the globe, I'm pretty depressed. For those of you who haven't seen our previous video, again, are wondering why this video, I'm not trying to farm views. The last video was made June 27th, and a lot of stuff changed. Now I'm going to share with you all the events that happened until July 21st, or it's July 1st. And even at one point during that time, we really thought that we were going to play. And I'll also let some of my teammates share some of their thoughts as well. And everything in the video will be timestamped. You can scroll through the timestamps to whatever you want to inquire about. Now, from the very beginning again, I'm going to recap everything that's happened from June 25th till now, and when this all started. If you already watched my video again, go skip the timestamp. Starting off, the HO campaign was previously planned before, MSC, and when they planned it, they made sure that there are no rules being obstructed in the MSC or NACT rulebook that could potentially cause harm in doing the campaign. Had knowing these rules wouldn't matter anyway, I'm sure every party involved would have done things differently. June 25th comes around, and the HOK campaign is publicly announced. As soon as it was announced, Moonton sent us an official warning that we'd be banned from participating in EWC if we were to proceed with the campaign. We as in Hu and Zane. Dave, his team, and us playing were all very confused. In the first paragraph of the rulebook, it states right here, first paragraph of the rulebook, it states this. Instruction purpose, these official rules and Legends Bang Bang Season Cup apply to each of the teams who qualify to play in the MSC July 10th, 25th, August 2nd, and 2025. And, I've had time to look over this, and I've heard people say that you can interpret this two different ways, whether it applies to every single team period overall that have qualified. But, I really think that's you're thinking it's not really the transparency of this rule is so stupid. It's not a very transparent rule at all, even if you use that argument. I would think a general interpretation of this rule would be, hey, these rules apply to each of the teams who qualify to play in the MSC from July 10th to August 2nd, 2025. At first look, you would think, okay, this is going to be from that time frame, But anywho, regardless of how you interpret it, I believe a general people will interpret it as, hey, these rules don't apply until this time frame. Even, Dave's lawyers that he talked about thought of it this way. And yeah, if people who are professional think of it that way, and it still gets misinterpreted or confused, it really should be clarified. There's also the same rulebook in the NACT rulebook, which states the time frame of the season. And I will show you that as well. Players are prohibited from receiving public sponsorship from competitive MOBA games during active NACT season from May 9th to May 18th, including Honor Kings and all that whatnot. So the time frame still doesn't really collide with either of those. And one would think, why not Zane and Hoon just back out of the campaign? But they had already signed the contract for the campaign a while back. They could not handle the damages that would result from breaking the contract. Think about it. this is one side is a side contract with stated damages that they cannot disclose due to NDA and obvious reasons. And the other side is threats with no actual basis. Dave had spent lots of money on lawyers to debunk this and see how Moonton could actually do this to us. From everyone but Moonton's standpoint, this all looked like bullshit. The first question was, what rule did we break specifically that would deny us from competing? There is one rule in the MSC rulebook regarding advertisements
It's
of
sad that
competitor
whole
games that would not be
BTK
allowed.
members suffered
The
the
one I
ban,
showed you
but it is
earlier.
what is. Hope
This one,
Insane and the
you know,
members recover
the
from
penalty
this.
rule. But also say in the rulebook again, I already showed you the given time.
Do you guys know what this 4 column is? Like, what is like the? Is it like
I
the
think
order?
first-
Like
Yeah,
you're
I
supposed to
think
get
the
one
first
warning and
offense
another warning and a half a year suspension or what?
might be the first offense, second offense, or something.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think it's the number of offenses. I think.
So
yeah, looks like number.
so
of
are they on
offenses.
the 3rd one or the 4th one? Because it's
The
not a
first
warning
one,
anymore, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not very
Moonton said they issued warnings, so I think like maybe they're on the 3rd one. No, but now it's on the 4th one, right? Permanent suspension.
But they are not even suspended. They were just ejected from the tournament straight.
But didn't he say they were banned? So they're
Yeah, they were
permanently
banned.
suspended
Yeah. I think
from
they're on the 4th
MSC
one.
or what? Or either
I
what?
think it's EWC. I think it's EWC rulebook.
Oh, it's EWC.
Yeah.
So even if they
it's-
move to Honor of Kings, they cannot join EWC part of the Honor of Kings.
I don't think so. I
What?
don't think so.
What? Also, thanks for the donut dumpling. It's sad that the whole BTK member suffered the ban, but it's what it is. Hope Hun and Zayn and members recover from this. Yeah, hopefully. This
Hopefully.
is so they got warnings,
I think prior to it. Yeah.
and then they can just jump to the 4th one.
Immediately, yeah. I think it was almost immediate, without any reason.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I can only assume that was the case. Yeah.
Frames for NECT are May 5th or May 9th to May 18th. In the MSC rulebook, the exact same time frames are July 10th to August 2nd. The campaign time frame was June 27th to June 28th. Obviously, it doesn't align. It still goes back to the time frame thing. Dave and his legal team refuted this logic, and then Moonton gave us this official reply right here. Now, I will have my camera, because I forgot to in the previous video, but you can go look over it yourself. They said that the phrase from July 10th to August 2nd, 2025 is a temporal modifier that qualifies the clause have been qualified to play. This means the dates tell us which team the rules apply, and the teams qualified to the tournament takes place between July 10th and August 2nd, not when the rules are in force. So the time frame restricts the event, not the applicability of the rules. And like, again, it's just really weird how they put that rule. I can see how some, if you're reaching for it, can interpret it that way, but the transparency of it is still in question. And that is ultimately what this boils down to.
Wait, so they're saying the time frame is to specify which teams are qualified to play during those time frame and is under the rule. Wait. I don't understand the time frame thing. Do you guys know? Anyone smart out there? They just the queue from MSC. They're not banned yet. Okay. This is the only other place that would have space for time frame, but it's not signed, nor filled by team, nor any players from the team.
I think it was not stated the time frame.
So they didn't sign this part at all? This appendix B? This team participation.
They retained the
It's just
final
a
interpretation of
general
the rules.
agreement, that's all.
Huh?
I think it's just a general agreement. That's all. It's not.
And
There's no
you can
time
say right
frame
here,
stipulated in the finalization form. I don't think there was any date that was stated at all.
I see.
Officially retains the
don't
right of
think so.
final interpretation of these rules and is entitled to impose penalties not listed below, and how it's the best interest of the MSC. Basically, anything that's like not that they interpret as conflicting to MSC, they can do whatever they want. And the final interpretation basically means that although the transparency of the rulebook is questionable, since they retain the final rights to it, they basically determine what it means. So it like kind of questions the validity of the rulebook if they can just change whatever it means to their own interests or their own way of meaning it. Like they can just twist how it sounds, whatever, to benefit themselves. So yeah, that's cool. That's fun. Now, again, this is the reply. For a few days between June 25th and 27th, it was actually looking good for us, and that we could actually potentially go to MSC and compete. But there was a discovery that MSC had not actually given the teams the chance to sign the rulebook. Because of this, as players and teams, we do not have any contractual obligations to Moonton, and vice versa. Everything they do is arbitrary, meaning they have all the power. At this point, all Dave could do was ask Moonton for potential compromises. Dave even offered to send a full production team over here to do content and cover bootcamp worth of tens of thousands of dollars, all for Moonton's benefit, which would cost them nothing, actually $0. Or, if we could get potential player substitutes for Hoon and Zane, since this issue is not related to the org or the rest of the team. But by the end of June 27th, when I recorded my old video, they told us we were fucked and that we would not go. Now this is all the new information from June 27th, 28th onwards. So those of you who just joined, click the timestamp. Dave gave us an update in the morning after the depressing night, a lot of emotions, and that there was a chance again, somehow. The EWC committee had finally stepped in to help resolve the issue, and after several back and forth discussions the next day, communicating with Tencent, a compromise was proposed, that the streams be taken down after posting. Tencent, who literally made the contract and had it signed, basically everything was like right, they did right in their part, had no reason to accept this. But even then, they still compromised out of respect for the players and SAUL. Since Tencent agreed...
Tencent is HOK? Or
Uh,
who's Tencent?
Wait, it's one of the companies. Wait, hold on. Let me just check.
What's happening to MWI women's team? Is it still happening or canceled? They're fine. Why? Are they? They're not part of this, no? I think so.
Honor of Kings, yes, Honor of Kings. It's from Honor of Kings.
Oh, Tencent. So they...
Yeah, Honor of Kings is under...
Honor of King was willing to put down the content even though they didn't
Yeah.
need to help out.
Developed
Interesting.
by Timmy Studio, published by Tencent. Okay.
So Teamy's
Yeah,
under
so it's-
Tencent.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
EWC committee began to discuss and attempt to work out a solution with Moonton. There was complete radio silence for 3 days regarding news and updates on the matter. We had actually thought we would be able to play and actually started a scrim. And scrims were actually looking pretty good. We were doing quite well versus MPL teams and qualifying MSC teams, much better than the result of what we had during scrims for M6. And we were only 2 days in, with another 3 weeks to practice and improve. We really liked our odds and chances for EWC. Then, to the surprise of everyone involved, Moonton came out with that devastating announcement. It was over for us. So, once again, we're referencing the exact penalty that they referenced in here, the Instagram post. It is MSC Penalty Index, Section 2. And that is the one right here. Team engages in any competitor game event, live stream, or other way to get competitor game exposure. The MOBA games are defined as mobile game, whatever. And, like, you can interpret it. The first one was a warning. Like, it doesn't even matter. But I literally don't think they gave us, like, the correct, warning. No point in complaining about it now, honest. Moonton essentially wants to hold the NA region to the same standard as any other MPL region. They've had a call with an NA Moonton rep during the time frame that it looked good for our chances of playing, and that the Moonton rep was trying to convince Dave by comparing other regions to MPL, including other MPL regions to NA. a region, by the way, that got diamonds for the grand prize of their EWC qualifier, NACT. And even last year, when BTK won the qualifier and became sponsored by Cloud9, Moonton almost didn't allow Cloud9 to sponsor BTK because the rules at that time were that you could not change your team name after qualifying to international. They almost did not allow the BTK players to get a pretty substantial amount of money because of their rules. And to this day, C9 paid the most out of any other org that has ever sponsored NA. So imagine like they were denied that money, which would have been like insane. Throughout this whole ordeal, the people actually making, when I say this ordeal, I mean like the ban. The people actually making the decisions in Moonton higher up would never actually be there for a discussion. All they did was send insignificant interns or lackeys, one after another, to give dead-end replies with no proper discussion. And the most important thing is, although they have said they warned they warned the team multiple times, the only choice they gave us was like unreasonable. You know, expecting them to just break contract and suffer penalties to compete in EWC. Now, for some even more shocking news for, you know, NA fans in country or outside. There is no M7 slot for NA. This was revealed
That's
as a
confirmed.
potential thing during the M6 qualifiers and was confirmed as reality prior to the EWC qualifiers. They actually almost completely canceled this EWC for NA, hence the short 3-day tournament. It was literally last minute. We did not know up until like 2 weeks it was like a week or two prior to the actual tournament that we were actually going to have it. We literally thought it was going to get canceled. Moonton does not care about treating us fairly or giving us a chance. It's just pure spite and dropping the NA region entirely at this point. If you don't know, NA is actually one of the highest profit regions for Moonton, and like let me explain first. NA does not make the most amount of like money as other regions in sheer revenue, but it makes a lot of profit because Moonton doesn't need to put money into NA or invest at all. At this point, has stopped putting money entirely, looking at diamonds as our prize pool. They probably still think that NA will just sell as much skins without supporting the region or the community at all. They don't understand that like people are going to leave over this bullying nonsense. Now, I've seen a lot of people that have sided with Moonton on this. Definitely not a majority. The vast majority has been like not supporting Moonton, but there are still a minority that are. And for various reasons I'm going to discuss about. I already mentioned the one earlier, how the interpretation of the rule could be loosely interpreted, but the transparency of that is still questionable. Aside from that reason that I've already covered before, the biggest argument I've seen is that why would you advertise a competitor even outside of the rule timeframe before an upcoming tournament? And that no other professional industry would do this. LeBron James would not advertise Adidas whilst partnered with Nike during off-season. But this logic is just kind of flawed. Moonton does not reward us with any money for our NACT even, or outside of it as influencers. Mobile Legends in NA is a pure passion project, not a financially suitable one. There is quite literally a handful of people, less than 5, that make a livable amount of money in the US from Mobile Legends. The money they make isn't even from Moonton. It is from their own work growing themselves with little to no monetary help from Moonton. And outside of that handful, which is like 5 or less people, nobody makes a livable amount of money. It's a full-time MLBB in the US. I'm 100% serious, it is 5 or less people that make money. The average MPL salaries for like Indo PH are actually good salaries for like the average Indo PH. The biggest MPL regions, by the way, they don't have to be worried, at least in the short term, in terms of salaries. NA players have to take whatever they can get to sustain themselves. We don't have the leisure to pick and choose our sponsors. Our region was already done with no M7, and I fully believe that Moonton did not care about banning us at all. Since we already have no M7, they might as well just fuck us over with no consequences to themselves. Even Dave was actively looking for investors and sponsors for a community tournament in NA to continue the scene one way or another, even getting up to a potential 50 grand prize pool for an M7 qualifier tournament. He almost got sponsors to make a biggest prize pool ever for an NACT tournament to qualify, more than Moonton's ever had on his own. But Moonton would not budge regardless, saying that third-party tournaments would not actually qualify to an official Moonton event. Moonton is using us as an example for every other staff or player that work in relation to Moonton in any way, shape, or form. They're basically saying that if you go against them in any way, they will punish you severely, whether it is justified or not. No wonder several notable organizations, notable figures, have left Moonton to pursue other endeavors or competitors. And you will notice key figures will continue to leave. And when you see them leave, you will think about this video and you will know why. I was even told by Moonton employees that this bullying nature of Moonton is even a constant in their workplace. The higher positions relentlessly bully the ones below them. This has only been really me talking and everything, and I'll let some of my teammates share some of their own thoughts and feelings regarding the matter.
Hike.
All right. Hi, this is Hun. I'm here to talk about my experience and opinion about this whole situation. I've noticed that me and Zane, especially, getting a lot of heat and blame about what's going on, and then I just want to say that if I knew this would have been the result, definitely I wouldn't have taken the deal in the first place. And then it was right after NACT that I was introduced with the sponsorship, which was around in May back in Oklahoma. I heard that there's gonna be a sponsorship deal with HOK, and then I said okay, because well, that's how it usually goes with any sponsorship deal with the agent. When we were actually in the PH, we were gonna go with the sponsorship deal that we planned on a month ago. Then when this was on public, Munton notified us that we're gonna be banned if we proceed with the campaign. And then when we, me and Zane especially, when we heard about the news, the initial thought was to back out of the sponsorship deal, obviously. We talked with the team as well, and then we talked with the agent. We asked Dave, can we back out on the deal and then play the EWC? But obviously the contract's been already signed, apparently. And then we cannot back out on the deal because they'll be breaching the contract. And then breaching the contract is far more severe than what Munton has been threatening us with. So we had to proceed with the stream, and then that was the only reasonable or valid move that we could take. And the team knows that as well. So at that point it was too late. And then we were just hoping on that Munton wouldn't go this far to just basically ruin our career. But they did, and I feel super bad that I could not compete, and then I feel like taking the chances away from my teammates as well. So I'm probably just gonna just split the sponsorship money with the team equally. I'm pretty sure Zane would too, because we've talked about it together. So that's what we're gonna do. And yeah, there's no real winner in this situation. That's why I really don't understand the whole thing about this, because M7 is NACT was basically cancelled, and then this was like, we've known this since months ago that this MSC NACT is gonna be the last NACT, and then we were paid in diamonds for the tournaments that we flew to Oklahoma together for better ping to play. But I'm just speechless about how this turned out to be this way. But it's truly unfortunate. Um, I just feel very sorry for everyone that expected us to do well, supported us. I'm sorry this, it happened this way. I
Right?
So boys, we're back. Most of you talk about AWC,
Is there someone in the
bans
back?
and whatnot. Nothing really much to really say, other than us getting DQ'd. But I will say that it does feel like shit. Working hard for this, right? We worked for like what 3-4 months. Came all the way for NSCT. Then we came all the way to the Philippines for this. Just to find out we're getting DQ'd. Sent back home immediately too, right? It's kind of fucked, but at the end of the day, we don't really have any say in anything. They made their decision, whatnot. So that's where we're at. Getting sent home doesn't feel too good, but I mean, at the end of the day, again, nothing much we could do. I will say, as somebody who wanted to, really prove that NA wasn't weak, I really like. For me, this meta was so good for me. I really liked it a lot. I enjoyed it, right? The scrimmages were going really good. Everything about the events that unfolded were truly unfortunate, to be completely honest with you guys. I did not expect this to happen, like, at all. But it did, and it kind of hits hard. It is what it is, though. Nothing really much to say. I'm really tired. I'm flying back soon. As I'm making this video, I'm flying back in, like, I don't know, like 3 hours, 4 hours. So hope you guys, I appreciate you guys, everybody that's, with BTK/S8UL. I love y'all. Hope you guys support me and the team in what we do. Onwards. Thank you guys. Bye bye.
This has overall been a terrible experience, a waste of time, and a life-changing, cruel results of pure hard work and efforts. I hope you continue to support everyone involved: Zane, Hoon, me, Zia, Carlos, Shark, SAUL, Tencent, and HOK wholeheartedly. We tried to resolve this peacefully, and all Moonton did was shake their asses in our face and not even give us one last chance to change the perspective of NA. So with a sad farewell, goodbye.
Okay.
Well,
All right. So we've heard them say.
so they're
everything.
probably back in NA right now, huh?
Yeah, they just got back. I think if I'm not wrong, they all just got back. Like
And
yesterday.
then
It was yesterday.
they're DQ'd. Yeah, I mean, it's good that Hoon and Zane are splitting the money, I guess. But
Yeah.
it's probably really no one is winning. Besides HOK, probably.
Yeah, but the whole NA region for MLBB is gone, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard it from
But
all
then,
of the guys.
but then it seems like they saw it coming. Like, if we didn't have spot for M7 and this was probably our last chance. Like,
Yeah.
they all knew. I mean, we didn't know. I didn't know. But
They
they knew the NA scene was closing. And this was our little last and then it just, I mean,
Just
we
don't
still
know.
have a chance, I guess. Area
I
77
mean, we
will
still
be
have A77.
representing, but
But it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be
yeah,
easy.
BTK was our best team, and now our Ra is gonna be like not as strong, I guess, in a way.
I mean, you have to work really hard, man.
Are you crying? No, guys. I'm just tired. But yeah. Feeling bad. But we have a lot more videos to
This
watch.
is Liz, a long time no see. Today I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the recent announcement regarding Seoul, or BTK's disqualification from
Oh yeah, so what happens to Seoul?
They got ejected too. For MSC because Seoul only I think sponsored for BTK.
Yeah.
So like I think that slot, I don't know if they are affected in their other avenues. I'm not sure entirely.
So
But
I don't know how sponsorships really work, but is Seoul gonna get like
they lost a lot of money because
they
of
lost a lot of
the
money and
BTK.
they're not gonna get anything back or anything? They probably can't.
Yeah,
Rip.
yeah.
MSC 2025.
Now, yeah.
By now, you've probably seen some videos and read the official statement from Moonton regarding the decision. According to the statement, the MSC committee ruled that BTK violated Section 2, Penalty Index B of the MSC 2025 rulebook. The clause prohibits players from participating in any campaign, stream, or event that promotes a direct competitor, in this case, Honor of Kings. Hoon and Zayn participated in a sponsored stream in the past weekend where they streamed HOK ranking up. Based on that, both were issued a maximum penalty outlined in the penalty index, resulting in a 6-month suspension from any tournament activities and from their team being disqualified from
it's just-
MSC due
okay.
to roster eligibility rules. Now, as a talent from North America who's worked alongside these players for many years, I feel a responsibility to speak up, not just to support the team, but to help lay out the full picture. Because after reading the rulebook and aligning the timeline of events, it's almost surreal to me seeing the phrase ensuring consistency with the MSC official rules highlighted in the official statement when the decision to disqualify the team itself strayed so far from what the rules actually says. Let's begin with the rule that was cited. Section 2 Penalty Index B prohibits players from giving exposure to competitor games, basically. Penalties, according to this index, ranges from a warning and a removal of content to suspension. Though the rulebook does not define what separates a slight offense, a typical offense, to an offense that results in maximum penalty. And no clarification has been given in the official statement regarding to why BTK's supposed offense results in a maximum penalty. Now, looking at the timeline, the HOK campaign happened on June 27 and 28. What stands out to me the most about the rulebook is that it defines a specific tournament window that is July 10 to August 2. That is almost 2 weeks after the HOK campaign happened. On top of that, I looked back at the NACT Spring 2025 rulebook, which defined its own anti-competitor period as May 9th to May 18th, which had also passed. And the players had no signed exclusivity agreements with Moonton. Chicken mentioned this in his video. I will link it down below. No language existed in the publicly available rulebooks that I found that restricted outside campaigns during June 27 to 28. And according to Mobazane's most recent stream that was quoted by a lot of clippers, Moonton only reached out on June 26, less than 24 hours before the campaign began, unlike what they said in the official statement, that they provided multiple warnings to the team. By then, it's already too late. Contracts with HOK has been signed, and the promotion has already been announced in-game. And when the players are informed, Hoon and Zayn worked with HOK to hide their videos, trying their best to work out a solution with Moonton. Still, the MSC committee at the end of the day chose to apply the maximum penalty without providing an explanation and immediately suspended both players, rendering BTK ineligible for MSC. This didn't happen in a vacuum. The MLBB esports scene has looked different from the rest of the world from the very beginning. There has been no team besides GG for that 8-month period had any salaries, and they've always had minimal support from Moonton. Even the NACT has had very limited budgets. The scope has significantly decreased over the past few tournaments. The last NACT Spring was condensed into 1 weekend. It was 0 prize pool, just to remind you, only in-game diamonds. Still, BTK grinded through. They paid out of their pocket for a boot camp in Ohio or somewhere during the NACT season to secure a good MS and won their regional stage fairly. They streamed to support themselves throughout this period, and they flew in early this time to the Philippines to train together and give it their best shot at MSC. It's important to emphasize that this is a team of gamers, not contracted professional players. They're playing out of passion. And the same goes for a lot of us in this community. Even as a host, I work a full-time job apart from Mobile Legends, and so does all the other casters in NA. And that's what makes this feel a lot heavier. This has been a community that's driven by passion, kept itself alive for years. To have its top team removed from the world stage over something that wasn't clearly prohibited and could have been resolved with care and communication feels incredibly defeating. But to be fair, I understand why some people might think it was a bad idea to stream a competitor game, regardless of what the rules indicate. It's a valid concern, but if we're talking about facts, both legally, professionally, and personally, the campaign was outside of the NACT and MSC restricted periods. No exclusivity contracts have been signed by any of the players with Moonton, which means that they can stream whatever they want. No warnings were given until the day before the campaign, and Moon and Zane has done similar sponsorships in the past without an issue. So for NA players, full-time streamers who receive no prize pool from Spring NACT and no support from Moonton, it's not hard to understand why they take any sponsorship deals that they can get. From my view, this is not a reckless decision. It's a decision that considered what the rules clearly said and the reality of trying to sustain yourself while still giving it all to represent your region. And that's what makes it all so disheartening. Not because Moonton acted out in bad faith, but because all of this could have been resolved and avoided. With clearly defined boundaries and rules, active communication, and a little bit of support of your teams, or even conversation earlier than 24 hours, this entire situation could have played out very differently. I'm not here to talk about drama or assign blame on anyone, but I do hope that this prompts a broader reflection about what fairness means in a space where structure doesn't exist. BTK earned its place in this tournament, and North America deserves more than silence, or vague enforcement, or retroactive consequences. We deserve clarity. We deserve a path forward. Because if this was really about ensuring consistency with MSC rules, then we need to make sure that these rules are defined clearly, applied fairly, and written in a way that respects the reality of the regions they govern.
Well, okay.
Okay, so we're on to the last one, very last one.
I don't know. I had things to talk about. I totally forgot the second the video ended. But
Oh man.
the contract part, yeah, it's kind of 한국인이세요, 한국인입니다. It's like, okay, so the contracts, there's always a one with power and one signing the contract, one with less power. And same with the rule book, you know, one giving out the rules, one having to listen to the rule. And yes, it's important to have clear statements so you don't get to interpret it in like a way that, oh, like yeah, I don't know, this whole rule book situation is kind of like iffy, but
It's like a whole misunderstanding, honestly.
but in reality though, like that's how contracts kind of, like, people try to take advantage of contracts
it,
or
yeah.
like, yeah, those documents basically.
That's why we always have to read like 2-3 times.
Yeah,
the
but like you
contract
can't
before
blame BTK though, because the date stated on the document was an actual date, and they just believed that that was true.
That was valid, yeah.
I mean, it seems very valid. They didn't know that Moonton was gonna interpret it in a more too flexible way, I guess. And then oh, thank you, Shaggy, for the membership. Thank you. And what was I gonna talk about? I totally forgot. I forgot about something. What were they talking about? Let me. What was you talking about? Sorry, I'm brain lagging a little bit too much. But yeah, since I'm pretty sure you guys heard that like 2,000 times by now about how NACT didn't have any money, actual money prize pool, and
Yeah.
how it was fully diamonds. And yes, in other professional scenes, like for example, like this game, like any other professional games that I watch, people don't usually advertise competing MOBA games, but those people are most of the time under contract with, you know, like it's a very different situation from NA and how NA is getting managed by this game. So yes, you might say it was unethical or whatnot, but in reality, in a way that people have to live, survive,
Yeah. We have to
I
earn money
think that
to-
was a valid happening. Like they needed money, you know. And yeah, what Chicken said about the streamers or anything, like only like top 5 people make money, that's also true. So you guys don't ever have to worry about me being a full-time streamer, because I will never be one. Because you don't make money from streaming Mobile Legend. So yeah, so that's more of a reason why they would go for the sponsorship, right? Because I mean, it was probably different for like those people, like big streamer like Moba Zane and Hoon, but just generally in NA, you don't really get many sponsorships, first of all. And then if you get it and you can do it and it's like right and you have nothing really like if you see, they thought they were clear, right, from the documents. And if that's the case, you should go for it. Honestly, and that's what they did, and I think they did the right thing. And I agree with Liz, maybe Munton should have like response in a more cooperative
Diplomatic way.
way, yeah.
Cooperative,
But from what you guys been hearing from the videos, it's very obvious that Munton didn't want
They don't
NA
care.
region anymore. Like it
Yeah.
was very visible from like a few seasons ago, from having an offline events to not having offline events at all, and to having only diamond prize pools. It says a lot. And then to later, apparently all the talents knowing that M7 will not be included for NA. Like, yes, ML, Munton, you can blame BTK for all these accusations, but you guys kind of never really wanted the NA region anymore. And yes, I think some people say this, and I think it's low-key true. Like, they just needed, maybe they just needed like a little excuse to drop NA completely and don't look too bad. Like, they were gonna drop us either way, and they needed like an excuse to make it more public, I guess. And this was a best excuse they could get, and they took advantage of it, I guess, in a way. But I think what happened was bound to happen. It's very unfortunate that BTK didn't get to even perform at either VC, because as best player said, like, this meta was, I don't know, I was kind of looking forward to best player playing, because first of all, I don't think I've seen best player playing in Worlds tournament. At least when I do watch parties, I've never seen him, and this meta is kind of good for him. And then apparently, like, if they were doing really well with the screams, like, imagine the hype they were going through and excitement, like anticipation for this, like,
Yes.
it was all ruined, right? And then
Yeah.
during the boot camp, out of nowhere, they have to go back home, and they're probably back home by now. But it's just very I don't know how to word it. I don't know. My English ain't Englishing right now, but
Yo, wait a sec, Cook. We got Bosch in here.
where? Am I
We
blind?
got Bosch in VC. Bosch is in VC.
Oh, Bodge is in VC. Bodge, and I feel bad for you guys too. Area 77. Like, what did they do?
Yeah.
Why in the middle of all this thing?
Wait, where are they right now? Where are you, Bosch?
It's also true. And
Like,
now
yeah,
everyone's like,
you.
"Ooh, fuck Moonton. Not gonna support them." But like, what happened to the MWI team? What happened to Area 77, guys? Like, we can't forget about them too. And I feel bad for them too, in a way.
Wait, Bosch turned on his cam. Hold up.
The notice said BTK was given option to replace Hoon and Zane, but they didn't. So the whole team is out. BTK was given, I don't know, were they? Also, was Zane gonna play? Wasn't Zane a sub? Hello?
Zane's a sub. Yeah, Zane's a sub.
So like, they only really needed to replace Hoon, no? I mean, I guess to have a full roster, you kind of also need to replace Zane,
Replace
but
the sub too. Yeah.
진짜 혹시 미국에 살고 있나요? 네. Hi, Noel. Yeah, so like, it is what it is. At this point, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, I feel like
Nothing can be
Moonton,
changed.
yeah, will not change anything.
Irreversible.
Yeah, I can't change their mind. They won't change their mind.
Yes.
Sure.
And apparently we're the most profiting region. I did not know that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, we're gonna watch a 50-minute long video now. Maybe I'll pause in between videos to talk about the things that I like that pops in my brain, because I keep forgetting by the end of the video. But yeah, let's watch Steve's video. We're probably gonna listen to the same informations that we heard like 2 times already, over and over again. But like, bear with me. I know it's like kind of too repetitive, but they really want to get all the informations out there. Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Dave,
Alright, sounds good.
founder of Foreign Famous. We're a small company passionate about esports, organizing online and offline events, community tournaments, and then I would say we manage an incredible fleet of streamers and content creators, many of whom are my really good friends, personal friends. So today I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart about a situation that's really shaken our North American mobile community. The ban of Team SAUL, right? Also known as BDK, from the 2025 Mid-Season Cup, also known as the Mobile Legend Esports World Cup title, right? As the person who helped Hoon and Zane lock in the HOK sponsorship, I want to share some of the facts and then answer some of the tough questions from behind-the-scene perspectives, okay? So why don't we start from the facts? The North American Challenger Tournaments 2025 run from May 9th to May 18th, and its rulebook defined an anti-competitor period during those dates. On June 27th and 28th, those are 2 days when Hoon and Zane participated in a live stream campaign for Honor of King. During the off season of, I would say, Mobile Legend Esports, right? It's right after NACT ended, and then before the MSC tournament, which runs from July 10th to August 2nd, with SAUL/BDK's match originally scheduled. I believe the earliest date would be July 23rd, a whole month from the Honor of King campaign. Whole month, okay? On June 26th, just 1 day before when Hoon is about to start his live stream, Moontown staff reached out to the team and demanding that we will stop all the sponsorship without citing any effective rulebook clauses. Then on June 30th, Moontown announced the official ban of Hoon and Zane from MSC, effectively disqualifying SAUL in this title for EWC as well. Now, here's what you need to know, okay? These are the timeline and a few things that you should keep in the back of your head while we're talking. Number one thing is, North America players and teams, including SUL, BDK, have no standing contracts with Moonton or MSC, okay? Just in general, there's no specific contract with MSC, there's no contract with Moonton. Hoon and Zane and the rest of the roster have no exclusivity agreements with Moonton either, and nor does the team itself. Now, for those who do not understand what exclusivity agreements is, Chicken kind of touched on it in his video, so you can go watch his. But the shorter version is just the exclusivity agreements. Let's say if you signed it with Mobile Legends, it will prevent the creator from doing any competitor or any titles that will be listed in that agreement, right? That's hence called exclusivity agreements. You can only exclusively play that specific title, right? But there's no such agreement. You know, there was such agreement many years ago, I believe, but that stopped many years ago. The next thing is NACT 2025 Spring Prize Pool, as many of you guys know, was paid in in-game diamonds, not real money. So BDK players initially have to pay out of their own pocket to bootcamp during the NACT, the 3-day NACT, right? Just to get better ping at the tournament. This hence is obviously going to be reimbursed from our side. But think about that for a second, right? Players have to, if they didn't get any sponsorship, if they don't have any financial support, this is something that they're voluntarily doing to bootcamp for a tournament has no prize pool, just because they can compete against other regions on the world stage. And I would tell you that team will do the same if this is for M7, if this is for any other World Series, right? This doesn't just apply to EWC. Although it just so happened that this time it's EWC, right? So for their current Philippine bootcamp, which everyone left, I think there are a few players who are staying there voluntarily, but we bought everyone flight ticket and everybody's already back in the States. North America in general, right? Now, for the current Philippines bootcamp, SAUL and us, Foreign Famous, we cover all the costs. That includes travel, training, everything, okay? The team arrived early to adjust to jet lag, time zones, and with players like Shark arriving on the day of the Honor of King livestream, meaning they won't, they can't even, scrim because Shark just arrived. He's tired, and you're exhausted. Not too many people watching. I think a very small amount are probably pro players who have the experience of scrim, or travel internationally to scrim. You're extremely exhausted. The first few days you can't really scrim. You're just there. You got to warm up, but there's not really effective scrim. You're done. You're toasted, right? Now, most importantly, Hoon and Zane's Honor of King sponsorship happened in the off season, when there's no agreement, there's no contract standing, there's nothing. There's no active restrictions that limits them, right? It's outside of any defined anti-competitor period. Now, keep that in mind. This is not MPL. There's no off-season restrictions for the league or teams in the league or any of that, right? It's just a team who earn their slot in EWC. Okay. Now, the broader issue I want to raise is that Moontown's decision to really ban SAUL, aka BDK, without clear rules or any signed agreements, shows how publisher can wield unchecked power, arbitrary power, just punishing players who are just trying to make a living. And any players get no financial support from Moontown, right? I think previous season, you can argue that prize pool is a form of support for sure. And I will stand behind that, right? It's just that the prize pool, obviously, in NA has now reduced to diamonds, because really this tournament, for longest time, we don't know it was going to exist or not for NACT, right? No one knows. No, not me, not players, none of us, casters, no one knows. We were notified in a short period of time, and we delivered, right? We completed the tournament with one of the biggest participation from the community in the entire mobile world, and we've made it happen. And it was exciting. A lot of participation, a lot of viewership. And outside of that, right, any players really get no financial support from Moontown, especially this season, especially for the past, I would say, close to a year. There's no salaries, there's no travel funding, just there's no content funding. It's just diamonds. And then I think a lot of the creators for Mobile Legends would know this as well, which is if you make content for Mobile Legends and you happen to do a sponsorship, let's say for HOK or whatnot, right, or any competing title, I heard because we have a lot of pro player friends in MPL, and they said even Vainglory, some other games, you would be punished, or you don't even get diamonds anymore. That's interesting to me. I didn't know that. But okay, the players, they pay for their own boot camps out of passion for the game and the community. Compare that to regions like Southeast Asia, okay, where MPL teams have millions of dollars of endorsement, revenue splits with MPL, right, and more. So a lot of you guys didn't know, but how franchise league works is there's revenue splits. It's just standard. So I would easily assume that the in-game badges that you guys purchase, the sales for the orgs, for the Oneg, whatever, the in-game badges, the recalls, all of that has a direct revenue split with the org. I don't know whether the players see any of that, but it has a direct bonus split with the org. In the
Your TLPs probably earn a lot with that recall then. Because everyone had that recall, no? At least in NA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially.
Also, watching the old NACT videos kind of make me emotional. Like now, like emotional to me, because like that's the last tournament we ever have. That was the last one. I didn't know that. Sad.
US, where the median house, but in the US we don't get any of that, right? In the North America region, the player don't get any of that, right? The BTK, the path to power emotes that everybody loves and use in the game. Even in professional tournaments, you guys know, I think use that all the time. The players in the team don't see a penny. In the
Oh, then where does the BTK one go then? It just goes straight to Montan. Unlike the other
I guess.
recalls. Interesting.
region where the median household income is $80,000 and over 50% of the people who live here live paycheck to paycheck. That's how expensive it is to live here in the United States. Okay, it's really expensive. That's why we say this is really a passion project. People play esports out of passion. They want to join these players want to join MSC out of passion, right? They want to compete. You guys all heard what best player said after NACT finished in the interview. You think he really just you think he was boot camping, spending his own money for diamonds? Or you think he really just want to go to worlds? These players aren't chasing the bag here. They're fighting for the survival while representing NA on the world stage. Okay? Like it's same from a lot of people participating in it. The casters, the staff, the league operation, right? The production team. There's a lot of passion involved to build this community, to build this region. Now let's tackle some of the questions that's been floating around that I noticed that I've seen from in the comment section, which are pretty funny, to be honest. The first being, why didn't you tell Moontown about the HOK sponsorship ahead of time? The answer is very simple, because we're not simps. We didn't have to. We checked all the official documents, everything lined up. Okay, this is not the obsessed girlfriend here, where I have to report everything I do on my day-to-day life. The team have to report everything you do on day-to-day life. There's no conflict of rules. There's no restriction of rules that can restrict the players. This is their free time. The sponsorship outside of any anti-competitor period. And there's no contract requiring us to disclose off-season deals to Moonton. I mean, I don't know who has this brilliant idea to even think that we're obligated to tell Moonton everything, that's unrelated to Moonton, right? I mean, this really isn't, I already used an example, but this is literally not obsessed girlfriend scenario, right? You probably would. Some of the bad actors watching this like to do that, right? The 500-pound gorillas in the mommy's basement. Well, let's just say that you live your life and let us live ours, okay? The point is, we played by the book, and there's everything lined up by the book, okay? That's the key thing. And then, if you think about it, doesn't matter if we can tell Moonton 2, 3, 4 years before MSC. Let me ask the audience a question. What do you think Mobile Legends will say? It doesn't matter. The point is, it really does not matter, right? Because rules are rules. That's why there's rulebook to begin with, all right? The second thing is Moonton says, because when we try to talk to Moonton about it, they say the rulebook's timeline doesn't mean its actual effective period. In fact, they said the July 10th to August 2nd is simply a modifier defining the time frame of MSC. There are a few things I want to mention about that. First, if the timeline isn't clear, then what is, right? What is? The NACT rulebook defines May 9th to 18th as anti-competitor period. MSC rulebook apply from July 10th to August 2nd. That's the MSC, even on Moonton's own logic, that's the MSC period, right? Now, the first line of the second paragraph, if you guys read the official rulebook on the EWC official website, you don't have to use any of the thing that we say. Just go to EWC official website, find the Mobile Legends title, scroll down, find the official rulebook, open it up, go to the first chapter. the second paragraph. The first paragraph defined the period. The second paragraph, the first line said loud and clear, black and white, this rulebook only applies to MSC and nothing else. Now, when is MSC, I ask you? I think by this point, you know the rule as well as we do. You have to really stretch it to explain the rulebook the way you want to explain it, right? Besides, the very important element in this discussion is Moontown never really specified any other time frame. Even now, okay, if this time frame was an effective time frame, when MSC rulebook is effective, then what is? Are players supposed to avoid sponsorship forever?
The echo.
Or how about 3 months? How about 6 months? How about after MSC? Right? How about that? Right? For those people who argue, yeah, it's it's after you qualify, right, to MSC. See, that's an assumption as well. The to MSC ending, right? That's an assumption as well. Since Moontown holds the final interpretation of the rule, this can be interpreted many different ways, in indefinite ways. It's absurd, right? I can simply say, because you're participating in MSC, it would make sense that for the best interest of MSC, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months after MSC is still within MSC's protection period. It's still just to make sure that MSC still maintain the most amount of viewership. You cannot participate in any competitor's campaign. What is effective time frame? You tell me. Go find it in the rulebook. Go, right? For those people who criticize, who said this rule should be interpreted the different ways, right? Find me the actual time frame. Find me the actual time frame. Okay? The common sense says that the rulebook have defined effective periods for a reason. Anyways, secondly, after consulting our legal experts, we're talking about, very, very knowledgeable, very popular, and then super high class lawyers, okay, in the esports industry, that represents major orgs in the United States. We confirmed that an unsigned rulebook has no legal weight. It really doesn't. It's not signed. The rulebook is not signed. There's no player participation agreement being signed. That means, so what does it mean, right? It means it doesn't bind the players or the publishers or the team, right? No, basically, June 27th to 28th is players' free time. Outside of the rulebook's restriction, the player don't owe the publisher anything, and vice versa. The publisher doesn't owe right? There's no mutual obligation. It's either side is free, right? Because it's not binded by this rulebook. Although this rulebook is official and it's final, it's on the EWC website, right? That is the official rulebook for MSC. Yet, with that being said, that also means Moontown's sole discretion can change the rules on a whim, right? Which is exactly the issue I want to raise. The arbitrary power with no accountability to the players, to the community, or a bigger foundation, the whole party, aka the Esports World Cup Foundation.
Why did the
right?
music change?
I mean, I understand that if this is strictly just a tournament, paid, organized by the publisher, they have the ultimate say and explanation. But this is not. This is subject to a much bigger foundation, much bigger platform called Esports World Cup. So there's just quite a bit of things that I find interesting in this entire shenanigans, right? Next question I see is, why didn't Hoon and Zane back out from the sponsorship? I think Hoon, Zane, Chicken both answered in their videos. They would. The issue is timing. Moontown notified us 1 day before Hoon's stream scheduled campaign. By then, this campaign was locked in. It's built into the game. It's announced. The contract's already signed, and we informed Moontown we cannot back out. Right? There's the legal ramification or stuff that players, whether players or us, can handle. Right? Now, Zane and Hoon have said it clearly. If we'd known that Moontown could bend the non-existent rules, the inactive rules, even then we wouldn't have taken the deal sort of risk. Okay? But rules are rules. and we just didn't know that this rules doesn't really have any weight, right? These players never promoted Honor of Kings. If you think about it, this player never promoted Honor of Kings during NACT or M6 or previous World Series, right? Despite plenty of offers. They have done promotions with Honor of Kings, one-off promotions, right? Here and there with Honor of Kings and different other publishers during off seasons. When there's no rule, when there's no restrictions, what was the issue then? By the way, the same arbitrary power would easily extend the same effective period to then, right? Say that those were a violation of rules. It's the same thing. You know, if you don't have a definite period defining your contract, the contract is invalid because it's basically indefinite time. And any person with a double-digit brain cells would understand that, right? I wouldn't expand any further. So back to what I was saying, right? This player's never promoted HOK during NACT M6, and then there were plenty of offers, okay, trust me. But they never did, and we never took any offers. We also told anyone who would offer that they can't, right? This guy says have rule book, restrictions, commitment, you know, they're participating. They signed the player participation agreement, they signed the rule book, you know, by playing the tournament. So they also just the players respect the rules, right? They wouldn't take it to begin with, you know, like you can ask Boon, ask Zane. I think we all respect the rules. We respect the publisher's rule and we respect the community, right? It makes no sense for a player to take any competitor campaign during an active tournament. That's what the rule is intended for, right? So if you think about it, I think Chicken also mentioned this in his video. On one side, you have a legitimately signed agreement in good faith that helps this player financially, right? It's a one-off live stream sponsorship. On the other side, a threat based on rules that any of us see that don't apply. It doesn't apply, it's not active. And there's no exclusivity agreement. And it's randomly brought up one day before the campaign. What would you do standing in those shoes? What would you do, right? Knowing that you cannot back out from a signed contract. Like, that's why I would urge everyone to not blame the players, right? Not blame anyone. There's nothing that trust me, like it's sleepless night, right? Players have thought about every single options possible. We have thought about every possible options available. All right, the next thing is why play Honor of King while in the Philippines during supposed MLBB training time? The question really baffles me, right? The team's location is irrelevant. I don't know why this question was brought up. It's so funny. That's why I think like there are a lot of 12-year-olds or just 500-pound gorilla in mommy's basement typing this type of question. Absurd. The team's location is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. The players could have gone to PH a week later than what they originally planned for, or 2 weeks later, or simply don't go to any bootcamp at all. Or they can go to Indonesia, they can go to Malaysia. This was sponsored, obviously, the team was originally sponsored by SAUL. They could easily go to India. There are many different options player can choose, right? They just chose to go to PH at that time. You know, does it have any link? Do they have to start bootcamp right away? The answer is, this is none of your business. It really isn't, right? Like, whatever, like I said, you're not the obsessed girlfriend. The player can do whatever they choose to do that's best for them, right? And not to mention that I already shared with you guys that, you know, the reality of going international to scrim, to go to a PH from North America is a long trip. There's a lot of jet lag, a lot of adjustment to do. And then from our past experience, which have many, it's really hard. The first few days took a toll on the players. So they choose to go earlier to adjust, to relax, which is a common practice in any international travels. Any international travels for this type of endeavor, right? Plus, the players arrived on different dates, right? I mentioned like literally different dates. They arrived there on different time, on different dates. Shark got there the day off the live stream. These are human beings. They're not robots. They're not MLBB robots. You know, just because some of the bad actors are 500-pound gorilla sitting in the mommy's basement playing ML all day, doesn't mean anyone else should follow you. stop assuming that you know about the player's plans and then, or pretending that you have any right to dictate what they choose to do or not to do on their free time. Okay? So those keyboard warriors, funny, all right? That's why I don't get, obviously, when I was much younger, I think I took some of the comments more seriously. And then the more I start making content, the more I understand why content creator just, we're in a word, quote unquote, shameless, right? Because the comments are, a lot of the comments are literally, they challenge your conventional wisdom. I wouldn't say wisdom, conventional brain cells. You're like, what? How? Just, what? You know, anyways. The next question is, why promote Honor of Kings when you're representing Mobile Legends? Like, you know what's so funny? Because some of the comments also say like, you know, would you use Samsung if you are representing Apple? It's interesting because the player.
But you know what? If you know K-pop industry, they will be like promoting Samsung phone. But like if you see their selfies and stuff, they use iPhones. Just a little random fact. Never mind.
Players are not representing Mobile Legends. Okay, like they're not brand ambassadors for Mobile Legends. Not brand ambassador for.
So I think
What?
Yeah. It's their
it's their
personal,
personal phone, so I don't think like
Yeah, but I'm
Samsung
just.
or Apple would overstep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was just
Yeah.
saying because he just used Apple and Samsung
Mhm.
example.
Time. They are representing the North American
random.
community right now for MSC tournament. Right? That's all they're representing. I would say to the maximum, right? They're not representing Mobile Legends as a brand. Whatever they say they do, I think none of you guys will associate with Mobile Legends the brand, right? If you think about individual players right now, if they do something, do anything, how would that reflect on Mobile Legends? It doesn't, because there's no contract to say, there's no official announcement. Mobile Legends or Moontown didn't come out and say, by the way, these players represent us. That has never happened, right? They're simply representing the North American community. The difference here is, if we were actually representing Apple, none of us would be here to begin with, okay? Would be rich as fuck, all right? Because Apple would pay accordingly. In this case, for those who with challenged number of brain cells, there's no exclusivity agreement. There's no Moontown payments. There's no obligations. These players funded their own boot camps, for God's sake, to travel out of passion. I personally invested tens of thousands of dollars in the past to support NA's international endeavors, international dreams, international challenge travels. And you can ask the players about it, right? That's why we're tight. You know why? Because I love this community. And I don't say that. A lot of people say that. I use my action to go behind it. And what is my action? My pocket, my wallet. My wallet represents my words, not my words represent my words. Words usually has no weight. Your action stands behind your words, right?
Yeah.
And I truly believe that we can win. Now, I think I've been interviewed on during those
Well, what does he mean by win? Wait. Let me go back. Wait.
events. My wallet. A lot of people say that. I use my action to go behind it. And what is my action? My pocket, my wallet.
What?
Win butt.
Win butt?
Yeah. What is he gonna win?
My wallet
I
represents
don't
my
know.
words, not my words represent my words. Words usually has no weight. Your action stands behind your words, right? And I truly believe that we can win. Now, I think I've been interviewed on during those events, and people ask, "What do you think about NA? You know, chances of winning is 100%."
Oh,
100%.
Ah.
I don't think the players are any worse. Obviously, there are like challenges that roots in reality, how much time, how much resources the player have access to. But I've never lost faith in NA as a region, no matter the game. You know, I'm that passionate about our region. I show that much faith and commitment to our community. And we've been doing community tournaments for I don't know how many years now. And then all of this community, all those big major streamers that you know, from Ghost General to Petoskey to Zane to Hoon, all came out from those community tournaments. I don't know how many people remember Power SG, from Gosu Power SG. For those who didn't know who that is, that's Hoon. Okay.
Oh, that's Hoon.
When Zane was part of Gosu at one time, right? When Cardi wasn't called Cardi, it was called Shadow. We were there,
Shadow,
right?
yeah.
When the first MSC
Why did they all change
ever, when
names?
MSC wasn't called Mid-Season Cup, was
I don't
called
know.
Mobile Legends Southeast Asian Cup. We were there. I was the first one there. I was there ahead of most of the staff who are working for MSC right now. right? Why we were there and we saw the tournament, and guess who I was rooting for? I wasn't playing pro then. Although later on we had a team that was #1 in A, right?
He was
I played
pro?
then.
Assassin Dave was pro? What was he? What
Yeah.
was his lane?
Assassin.
think
So was he a jungle?
He was one of the OG jungle, if I'm not wrong. Very long ago.
Wow, that's
Actually,
actually
for Team Liquid, Team
crazy.
Immortals, for some other
He actually
teams
was a
in
pro for a while.
other titles, including Honor of Kings, right? Think about that. All that time,
But you know what I feel like at this point? I'm sorry I'm pausing, but like this video is longer than I expected. But I feel like
Yeah.
some of the chat is like, oh, Assassin Dave didn't ask Mobile Legend, Moonton. Before the sponsorship, they should have conformed with the Mobile Legend team.
Yeah.
But I feel like, guys, realistically, they were cutting budgets. They were not making it more and more obvious. They didn't really care about NA at all, right? It was
Yeah.
more and more apparent. Like, I feel like even
Like,
if
they
you
were already
ask,
big-
like, they probably, like, either way, this was gonna, like, I don't know. Like,
Either way, Annie was gonna get ejected no matter what happened.
yeah.
So like,
But this just
Yeah.
feel extra unfair because now they're getting ejected without a performance. I mean, Area 77 Area 77 is performing, but the people who were boot camping and getting mentally and skill wise prepared for it, you know.
yeah.
that we have invested in the community. Because I really want, obviously I didn't go too far. I suck, right? I'm too old. The time I joined, I'm already old and I'm still old, right? But I want to see the younger, more talented players win. When I first went to the first ever Mobile Legends Southeast Asia Cup, I wasn't rooting for Team AE, Assassination Esports, my team at the time. I was rooting for Ghost and PDK. I had one thing to ask. At the time, I remember there was a dinner with Moonton's management, and they were asking me. They said, "Dave, what's your suggestions? Right? Do you have any requests?" I said, "Give NA a chance, right? Let NA join this tournament." The answer to me at the time was no. There was no chance, right? And that's what eventually resulted in me playing esports for Arena of Valor. A lot of you guys, I got criticized so badly, by the way, and this is a side story.
I don't know
from this entire
Arena
thing.
Valor.
But I got criticized so badly, said I was chasing the
POV,
bag
that's what
or
Buzzing
whatever.
started with.
Let me make it really clear to you, okay? At the time when I streamed, I was getting about average 5,000, 4,000 viewers. My community tournaments was getting 6,000, 7,000 concurrent viewers for Mobile Legends. Okay, the amount of ads, donation I make, the amount of money I made from sponsorship was way more than anything I could make playing pro after. It had nothing to do with quote unquote the bag, because I wanted to play. I'm passionate about esports as well. The entire community are in this community out of passion. We really want NA to win. Okay. And that next question I have is, the other regions follow the same rules. Doesn't the MSC rulebook apply equally to all regions? Why are you guys special, right? The MSC rulebook applies to
But rules apply to everyone equally. But the treatment is not equal, though.
Treatment's not equal, clearly. Yeah, it's
everyone.
biased.
Well, the answer is it's yes and no. Yes and no, okay? The competition should be fair on the same device, the same venue, the same everything in that aspect, right? In the gaming aspect. But the participation rules should reflect each region's unique reality. NA's high living costs and lack of Moonton's official support make it impossible to compare us to MPL teams. Impossible. They're not on the
Okay,
same
that's
scale.
true.
In 2023, the
Yeah,
global
like,
community
we're the
was,
most expensive
Like, I
now.
don't know how many of you guys remember this, right? 2023, the global community was outraged when PDK won the NACT, but was denied MSC entry. Remember that? Well, why? I wouldn't go back in history, right? There are a lot of things that I will never talk about out of my respect for the publisher, right? That I will never talk about. But in short, $500 a month doesn't buy commitment in US. It doesn't, okay? Players,
500
when
a
they play the
month?
tournament, they have jobs, they have
That's
schools,
nothing.
they have lives they have
That's
to live. A lot of these players are came from immigrant families, right? Like think about this for a second. Your parents came all the way to United States, get through all this trouble, spend all this money to give their kid a chance, a better future, and then the kid turn around and tell the parents, I want to pursue my dream in esports back in Philippines. What do you think the parents would say? Do you know how many nights we stayed up talking to player parents? It's really difficult. It's not as simple as any other region. Okay. There's a rule. I'll give you some specific examples, right? Why blanket rules would never apply. Like, the rule says for MSC starting from 2024, basically 2 years ago when BDK was denied, there was a rule added where after the original, the roster that goes to MSC has to be locked before the tournament, the local regional grand final finish. This was interesting because we were not aware of that rule. And for NA, that's basically one of the major reasons why there was so much issue at the time. But this doesn't really apply to a lot of underfunded regions, especially in NA. Right? There's so many issues with this, right? And obviously that's not what the community wants either. None of the community want that. The community want to see Zane, Hoon on the same team. The best of the best from the region can offer to go to form a super team to go give the rest of the world a real shot, a real run for their money. Nobody wants this rule, but it's a blanket rule. Why? Because MPL doesn't have this issue. You think about it, right? MPL team never have this problem. Why do they need it? Why does a team need to change a roster after they win their originals? Why does a team need to change their roster or change a team name after they finish MPL grand finals? Why do they need to do that? Well, sadly tell you, NA does. Right? Like not just NA, a lot of underfunded region does, and the same rules shouldn't apply. The thing is, no one care if you use the same rule because it doesn't make any sense to them, and the community understands. Anyways, the blanket rules just ignore these differences, and then it hurt underfunded regions like NA, and it doesn't serve the broader good of the world tournament in any shape or form. Comparing NA to MPL regions with huge endorsement is unfair. It is really unfair. In Southeast Asia, players and brands align with MPL sponsors, right? Like, think about Southeast Asia. You see casters with almost little to no followings, right? With little followings, have huge sponsorship. I mean, I don't know exactly the details of the sponsorship, but they have sponsorship. In NA, you see all those phone sponsors, like all those detailed sponsors, behind all those big players. You see Kyrie joining commercial brands. In NA, the players get nothing in official capacity, right? Because there's no league as a bridge. There's no partnership. There's no support. And yet, we're expected to follow the same blanket rule. That's not really fairness, guys. It's neglect. It's neglect for the community uniqueness. It's neglect for what would serve a truly global tournament. That would be fair. Because when I would have played esports, I'll give you another example that would align with this. It's actually quite interesting. So when I played pro, I think back in 2018 when I was going to, I was at Team Immortals at the time, and then Team Immortals I think signed, worked out agreement with, at the time, not Honor of Kings. Honor of Kings didn't come out then. It's just, I think King of Glory. That's what the game is called. There's no really global version of the game, right? But there is something called King International Championship, and we're invited to go play the tournament, right? We have never played the game because at the time I already spent years in the United States, right? I've never played the Chinese version of Honor of King, and then I was excited. We went, but obviously the region is underfunded, right? Like, in a sense where we're new. So what was provided was there was a whole month of boot camp where from the official capacity, Tencent invited some of the best analysts, pro players, coaches to come train all the international regions for a whole month to at least provide a better shot, right? And we learned so much. We were given the opportunity to observe pro players, pro teams, to see how the developed teams really play this game. That would say, even though like that still doesn't make up, the years of experiences the Chinese team already have, but it's a really good gesture. And everybody loved the experience because they learned a lot, right? Despite the fact that we still get absolutely destroyed. But given longer time, maybe with better players, I think the international region will have a really good shot. Was that ever offered to NA or some of the other underfunded regions? I think that's a question that we should all think about. The next question is, why not negotiate a middle ground with Moonton? The answer is we
There's no
tried.
middle ground.
Sleeplessly. I
There's no
mentioned
middle ground.
sleeplessly. Ever since this was brought up to us, I would say the night before the scheduled stream time, right? Because it's literally less than a day. And then who has to go on stream, right? We really tried. I was super confused, right? And we checked with our legal team again. We checked internally again. We read the same thing over and over again. Like, isn't that like it says loud and clear, as clear as daylight can be clear, right? Like, so what happened was when we sent it, immediately the representative who was talking to me also didn't have a clear answer because it says in the rulebook, and we're clearly not in. The campaign was clearly not in the specified effective period. So we waited for a bit before we got an answer. And that's when the answer was Moonton holds the final interpretation of the rulebook came out, right? Like that's when that rule came online. And that's when we know the rulebook is all pointless, right? Because we can't really say anything. It's completely arbitrary. But despite this last minute demand, and I would say vague rules at best, right? Vague just really vague and confusing. We offered a lot of solutions. We offered middle ground. We tried our best. Some of the options I can list it here for you, right? We offer tens of thousands in media packages with professional videographers for SAUL BTK content during bootcamp and MSC. So what I mean by that is one of our strong suit would do content. We have a lot of creative people working with us. So we can make, and a lot of content we made. I hope you guys enjoy some of the contents in the past events, right? Coming out from the channels. It was really fun. Brought a lot of joy and then behind the scene aspect that you don't see from any other team or players in that time. You can still go back to watch those content. I'm very proud of the content that we made. We're able to do creative content, and it brought a lot of things that to the audience that you wouldn't see anywhere else. Despite the fact there's tons of money behind MPL, our content were goated. We don't have lots of budget. We don't have tens of thousands of dollars to make a singular video. We don't. But we have people who are passionate who want to make content with the players, right? And this time is different. We offered actual media packages with our own professional videographers for MSC to cover SAUL, BDK during the bootcamp, to offer the same, if not, much higher quality content, to offer you guys more viewership, more eyes on the team, on MSC. We offered some other things. We offered is like replacing Hoon and Zane. If the beef is with Hoon and Zane playing this campaign, right? Even though, like I've said and repeated many times, it's without. Some other things we offered is like replacing Hoon and Zane. If the beef is with Hoon and Zane playing this campaign, right? Even though, like I've said and repeated many times, it's outside of any boundaries or restrictions. But if, let's say, you just don't like it, right? The publisher doesn't like the fact that Hoon and Zane is playing Honor of Kings, that's fine. Replace them, right? The players, we talked to the players, they're okay with it. Replace them with Coach Rose or some other players from the region, right? Like, do that. The other players did nothing wrong. Let them continue to play. Let them continue to fight. Although this is not ideal for the players, for the team, but they earned their slot. They beat
Valid.
the NA number 2 runner-up fair and square in a dominating fashion. You guys all watched the finals. It was a good final. NA final is always good, to be honest, right? That we organized. There's some of the other negotiations included removing the HOK VOD after a live stream, which this was suggested to us. This option was suggested to us, okay? I wouldn't name names on which party suggested to us, but it was suggested to us to say that this would resolve the issue.
They did
Now,
it too, right?
SAUL
Yeah, they did.
and EWC also pushed for a lot of compromises with Moonton as well. And then,
EWC was not at fault.
obviously, I want
EWC
to give
and
credit
Tencent
to
helped them
Tencent for being lenient
with
and
the
allowing
speech,
this to
right?
happen, because this, they told us that the players going to EWC comes first, right? Out of respect for the players, let the players go to EWC first. So we were able to remove those content from the front page, right? But that didn't solve the issue. We also offered a cut in prize pool to serve as MSC's fine, right? Like to serve as, because fine would suggest that we did something wrong, but we still firmly believe that this is outside the timeline. Even if it's not, it's based off a very ambiguous and vague and unclear and confusing rule with no timeline. If that's not, there's no timeline defined in the rulebook at all, which means this rulebook doesn't really make any sense, right? So what we offered is, okay, we can offer something more PR related, in a sense where, how about we'll offer a cut in the prize pool as quote unquote fine, right? And then officially, you can make a post about all this and then make all the bosses happy, right? The players got fined, and then to show a force, right? To say, okay, well, discourage, right, this type of behavior, I would say. But Moonton rejected everything. It seemed like banning Zayn and Hoon and inviting the NACD runner-up, Era 77, was the only option. It seems like to somehow that was the only option. And by the way, I just want to mention here that the rulebook does have a segment on page 7 that mentioned how the slot allocation works from each region, but it's not detailed on how the replacement process works. That which further backs up my point that this entire rulebook is arbitrary. It's everything that what the quote-unquote MSC committee deems, that they want to do. In short, it's basically whatever they think they want to do is okay, right? Because they hold the final interpretation of the rule. That's interesting because there's no specific detailed process on how Era 77 or how if the team got taken out, how another team should be selected. But yet, that was chosen as a standard process. If this can be arbitrarily made, can be bent or changed or created out of thin air, then why not? Like any of the other options I mentioned, a valid option? Using the same logic, right? Why isn't replacing Hu and Zayn for SAUL's earned EWC slot for MOBB such an unbreakable barrier? Like, why is replacing them so hard? It's clear that this was. Then it's clear to us this was never about the rules, right? It's about the display of power, and then the publisher's unchecked control on a much bigger stage, like Esports World Cup, which I'm baffled with, right? How is this allowed from the World Cup Foundation perspective? Because they're paying for the whole party. So finally, my thoughts is that this isn't just about SAUL. This isn't about just Mobile Legends or whatever happened. I think this is about the future of mobile esports in general, right? In an ideal world, players compete purely for passion, right? And everyone has an equal playing field. But in reality, the players need to eat, pay rent, and survive. The caster need to do the same. The people who work in this ecosystem, like us, we need to do the same, right? Judging players, judging everyone from thousands of miles away without understanding our region's own struggles, the unique market characteristics. It's easy for keyboard warriors who don't live in our world. I have been building this community or been part of the community for a good of 8 years, and then close to a decade. And I'm really proud of what the community have achieved. To the 12-year-old 500-pound gorilla sitting in your mom's basement, to those people, frankly, I don't
just love
care.
saying that.
Right? Whatever you say in the comment section, I can care less. Your words means nothing to me. It means nothing to the players because you have nothing to show for, right? You haven't done anything for the community. All you do is yap. It's crazy, right? It's actually just a bunch of yappers. You know, why don't you shuffle some more chips in your mouth and shut the hell up?
Ooh.
I'm doing the best for my players and then my community and everyone I care about. That's all. That's the best I can do. That's all I can do. Like I said, we're a small team.
The best you can do.
I'm gonna do our best for the people I care about, right? For the people that we all care about. I want to take this opportunity to thank, even though the journey ended abruptly, ended short. I want to thank SAUL for supporting NA players, or the initiatives to support NA players and the region. I'm grateful to Honor of King teams for their leniency, right? After learning about the situation, like I said, they agreed to let Hoon and Zane remove their VOD to help the negotiations, right? To help negotiation with Moontown, so the teams and the players have a chance for EWC. Even though they really didn't have to, but I'm thankful for that, right? And I actually want to thank Moontown's management. Now, personally, from business standpoint, it's given us the opportunity to organize local community tournaments, to organize local events in the past, right? Including NA in MSC. Even this, like a lot of people criticize the prize pool or whatnot. To be honest, like, doesn't matter what, because what you don't know is there's a lot of, you can totally understand there's geopolitical tension right now, right? And you can understand from a business standpoint, there are a lot of considerations that's way beyond simple minds, simple, putting out an A. It's not that simple at all. I understand, and I'm appreciative there was something, right? Because NA couldn't be canceled, and there was never an MSC slot, right? That was the discussion for the longest time. And for those who didn't notice, that's why NACT was delayed for so long, right? For those who paid attention, NACT would have started 2 months before the actual time this 2025 spring season started, right? And it would have lasted for a lot longer, but it was shrunk. It was shrunk into 3 days, and it eventually happened. Doesn't matter, even though it was paid in diamonds, but at least there was a tournament, right? So there was a shot. It just, I wish that the publisher will listen more to our region's unique needs. I mean, I don't know, I'm no one to provide such opinion, but I think someone needed to come out and speak. You need to listen to somebody about the actual local market, right? Because the market is valuable. The community is valuable. NA, North America, whether you like it or not, is content center of the world. Your entire SCA drama is not as fun as NA drama. The region has some uniqueness to it that just attract fun, content, vibes that the rest of the world want to follow. There are a lot of value, not to mention the monetary value this region holds, right? There are a lot of players. Not everybody in SCA can pay $200 for a skin. In NA, you open up the game, there's not a single game you don't see Naruto skins. There's not a single game you don't see Sasuke skins, right? That's what it is in the NA region. There's a lot of money that this region had provided for the publisher, and I wish the publisher listened more to the region's unique needs, unique market characteristics. Anyways, I stand with BTK.
Is
I wish
Dave a
for clear
BTK
rules,
manager?
actual signed agreements,
Ika, not,
and respect for players
Dave,
who
it's
pour their
Ika.
hearts into the game. Thanks for listening, and let's keep fighting for our community. Let's do our best, and fighting for our NA community. I don't believe this is the end. I think for NA community, there's brighter future ahead.
Oh, yes.
Stay together, stay strong, and
Yes.
hopefully we'll see you next time.
Yes. We are strong.
Right.
Yeah, they're strong.
We are very strong. Anyway, guys, that's
Maybe-
the end of the video. I guess we can
Yeah.
talk a little about this.
Just a bit, yeah.
Anyway, they've added the same background music. It's his edit. I don't think he edits his video. But so rulebook, yada 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 yada. Oh, hi Dave.
Oh, hi Dave. Hello.
Lots of bot cooperative
dude.
accounts lately randomly popping out in different chats typing random information. Nice. We love Kookmon. Love you too, Dave. It's
Thank you so
okay.
much, Dave.
I don't really
Thanks
read
for the
chat
feedback,
that
by the
well.
way.
A lot of people already
Yeah.
know. No rush, no rush. Anyway, so rulebook yada yada da 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 da. At the end, it has no power, right? Dave talked about it. No, like,
Yeah.
not Dave. Dave's lawyers, I think.
I think the
Not
whole legal
signed.
team, they already tried, they did everything they could, but it's out of their ability for no
Yes.
reason.
It is really. I told you like earlier during the stream. There's always the one with the power and one signing under the power that has to
Yeah.
follow. And in this world, the reality of this harsh world,
Yeah.
nothing is really fair ever. And this was extra unfair, I would say, in
Yeah.
the way they interpreted their own rules and decisions.
They just completely
Yeah.
bent everything. Like, absolutely didn't need to do that, you know.
Yeah, it is what it is, but I don't think they're also gonna change anything, right?
Yeah.
At this point, they're just, I don't know how to say it, but
Didn't any kind of ban MLBD for a short while when
Yeah,
Trump
it
took,
was.
you know,
yeah,
It was.
from
It
that
was.
so I
point,
think
honestly though,
from that point everything turned to
from that like even before that, Moonton wasn't that interested in NA, and it was like kind of
Yeah,
showing.
that was.
And then from that point on, it was very visible that they were ready to cut us off. They just needed like a little initiation somewhere, a little chance, an
Yeah.
opportunity. And for them, I guess this was their perfect chance to pick on, even though it wasn't really like really an issue. Like
Never been that big.
yeah,
honestly.
it's not that
Yeah,
big of a
it's
deal. Literally, we just making money because you guys didn't give us any money kind of thing.
Like, they just needed a sponsorship to cover some costs. That's it. You know.
And
ML is not a full-time thing in the US. As
yes,
Dave already
it's
mentioned.
very different. First of all, games popularity is different, games funding is different, the whole environment, the cost of living, the money actually you
Yeah.
get from the game. Very, very different, guys. You cannot compare
Yeah.
us with different
With the
regions.
MPO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're just
because other
extra
MPO
in every
regions are
way.
like- yeah, because other MPO regions, they are like sponsored by like phone, food, even car companies and stuff like that. You know, especially in Indo, Malaysia, Philippines, quite a few other regions too. So it's like, you know, they have a lot of monetary support already, but NA completely
Exactly.
has zero.
Yes, and I think Dave wants to join the VC. How do
Oh, he
I
wants to join?
how do I add him to the VC?
You can pull him, you can pull him.
Dave, you can join whatever VC. Edit channel permissions. I don't remember. Okay.
Now,
Anyway,
what do we
guys.
play?
So
Yo, what's up, Kookmon?
hello Dave.
Dave.
Hello,
Hi,
hello.
Dave.
Like Dave?
Thanks for having me.
No
Yo,
problem.
what are the nice people you're doing the watch party with?
I know, right? They're staying up late night to do this together.
It's 2:30
It's
a.m. for us,
2:30.
Dave. Yeah.
Damn. Alright.
Damn.
All good, all good.
Yo, thank you for watching the video. So, just there was some very interesting thing that happened because I was watching it, and then I noticed there's a lot of bots in the chat because we recently noticed quite a bit of bots that were typing the same talking points. Like, there are few comments that are exactly the same from Zane's video to Chicken's video to the live stream, like under it.
Oh.
They're just completely paid
Oh.
bots. So I think there is obviously an anti-truth campaign that's going on right now. I don't know paid by who. I'm not gonna point fingers. To try to smear the team of what actually happened.
It's just,
You know, so
Hey, unfortunately, why yeah, guys, that's what's going on. It is
yeah,
a
just
cruel
keep a
world
lookout.
out there.
it is a
We will
cruel
keep a
world.
lookout.
And by the way, General released a video earlier this morning. You know what's interesting? I sent you some screenshot, Kookmon. You can take a look.
Huh.
He never talked to any one of us. Like we love Jen, but I don't know how much I'm gonna love Jen after that video.
Or,
It was all false. Not a besides. So there was two segments of the video. Number one, he talked about his actual reaction to the event, right? And he started pointing to the rule books or whatnot. Everything he said was either irrelevant or just completely false. And then the second part of the video, he started ranting about his life, which that's completely up to him. I'm okay with, right? Because that's him. The first part of the video was completely false, though. Like he mentioned, there are two things. Number one was a rule book. Number one thing that we contended with the publisher Moontang was not the anti-competitor clause itself, was when is a rule actually effective. Like we understand the rulebook has anti-competitive clause, but the thing that we contended, and my video was making the exact same point. Chicken, Zane, all making the exact same point, which is you can make a rulebook, but you have to say a specific timeline on it. Otherwise, I can give you a simple example, right? If there's no timeline on the rulebook, think about this: if the team who win the MSC championship, would you consider, like after August 2nd, that's when the tournament finished, right? Would you consider their obligation to MSC is finished?
but
would,
then,
right?
yeah.
No more,
Yeah, it is.
using that logic, using whatever Moontang logic they give us, which is, because on the rulebook, the first paragraph specifically said the timeline for the entire, for the effective duration of the
Effective
rulebook.
period. Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
but they said they want to interpret it the way they want it, which is they said that's simply pointing to the tournament time. It's not the effective period of the rulebook. But I swear to God, you go to the rulebook, go to UWC website, look through the entire rulebook. That's the only timeline in the entire rulebook. You can have ChatGPT, DeepSeek, whatever AI you have in your disposal. Look through the entire rulebook, find a second timeline in there. You will not find it. That's the only
There's only
timeline,
one.
right?
Yeah.
But let me finish the logic, right? The thing is, Moontang said that's the only law. That time is not the rulebook effective time, and we can respect that. We can respect that. We'll say, okay, yeah, sure. Then tell me the exact time when the rulebook is effective. They still haven't give us the answer. And let me ask you this: if there's no specific time for a contract, would you say that's a valid contract?
No.
Of course not. Every
It is
contract has
completely-
a starting and ending time. Because
Yeah,
if you
it's
don't
often
say,
stated.
like let's follow the Moontang's logic completely, right? And you cut out the second part, which is, let's just say we eliminated the timeline completely. Let's say the first paragraph of the rulebook simply said, you can open up the rulebook for your chat, actually. Let's just say the entire rulebook only says, this rulebook applies to anyone who qualified for MSC, and there's no time on it, okay? Remove that part. You know what that means? What that means is, let's say you already win the championship, Does that mean I'm now completely binded to this contract forever? So how long can I start getting sponsorship? Should I wait a month? Should I wait 2 months? Should I wait a year? What is the ending time when I can start getting sponsorship?
It's also true.
What is the starting time when I can get sponsorship?
Okay.
Because you understand why I pointed out in my video saying NACT is supposed to start a few months ago. You already know this. NACT spring season usually start around February or March, right? This season we only had like 3 days. If the same format, if the budget doesn't change and we have the 3-day tournament, what will happen is the tournament will end in probably February or March, right? The EWC is in July. There's a 5-month empty period. Are you saying you qualify that 5 month, none of the players can get a single sponsorship? They cannot get paid whatsoever just because they're participating in this tournament? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
And when does that end?
They
But-
stated only 10th July to 2nd August, right? From what I remember.
Yeah, no. Kookmon has opened. Just scroll down to the first chapter. Introduction and purpose. That's the
Oh,
first chapter.
introduction purpose.
Oh.
The-
Introduction.
The
and
overarching
purpose.
chapter of the entire rulebook. Open it.
These official
Yeah.
rules to
Yeah,
August
that one.
2nd. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
apply 10 to 2nd. Yeah, there's no other date, right, other than that, if I'm not
Yeah.
wrong.
There's
that-
no other date in the entire rulebook. This is it. And I'll give you two things to explain this rulebook, right? The first chapter, which is really interesting because the first paragraph clearly is stated that this rulebook is from effective from July 10th to August 2nd. But Moonton said that's just a modifier to describe the MSC. Okay, I'll take that. Look at the first line of the second paragraph.
Yes.
Only apply to official MSC,
Yes,
not outside tournament.
it only applies to official
MSC.
MSC. And when is MSC? It's clearly defined from July 10th to August 2nd.
Exactly, exactly.
Does that make any sense? They wrote the rule book themselves. We didn't write it for them.
Yeah.
And you take this whole, like I said, you take the whole timeline out. Then, are you saying if you participate in the tournament, you are literally binded forever? Forever.
As long as
If-
you're
as
a
long
pro
as-
player, you're bound to whatever they want you to do, etc.
Yeah, forever. Because in the announcement, they said MSC committee will act in the best interest of MSC, right? So let me ask you this question. Because a lot of people are
Right.
saying, this should be effective since you qualify and then until the tournament end, right? Okay. So to
Okay.
that logic, let's say I win the championship on August 2nd. August 3rd, I take a competitor, League of Legends Warrior, Honor of King, doesn't matter. Sponsorship. What would you think? What would you say? What would you think Moontown will say? Do you think they will allow it?
No.
There you go. It doesn't make any sense. Any contract or rulebook has a specific, detailed timeline. Every single one of them. This rulebook has one timeline. Here, July 10th to August 2nd. And they keep on interpreting the way they want it to, which makes no sense. So the end of the day, the point that we're trying to make is never about the rulebook. They're making an example out of using these two players, right? Because you understand, like at best, this is ambiguous rule, right? Like basically, they messed up the rule. It's unclear, right? And then there's no other area. Even if you say it's unclear, let's say I wouldn't say at worst, but normally, if they claim it the way using their logic, then this rulebook is incomplete. You have no timeline on it whatsoever, right? So which means this rulebook is ineffective. It's a shitty rulebook.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
that means this is not. Then that means we have no rulebook at all.
Exactly.
Then everything should be on the table to be negotiated, and we offered them. We told them there's no way for us to back out. Like we told them, let's negotiate this. We give you all the possible options you can choose from, right? But they gave us no options. They said they have been warning the team multiple times. They warned the team less than 24 hours before the campaign, and then give us only one option. They have to stop. I told them that's the only. We cannot do that. And your rule doesn't forbid us from doing that, right? So let's negotiate like what do you want? Do you want media coverage? What do you want? What do you need? They give us no option. It seemed like the decision was made before it was ever negotiated.
They did not give you any like stipulated time window to like deal with the whole situation, basically.
And then it has no power because it's not signed or that's what Chicken said, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So those like literally, because there are a lot of bots in different chats right now. It's all paid for because they're saying the same talking point, which is like because they're first not answering the actual contention that we're trying to negotiate with Moonton, right? Which is never about the rule. It's just that your timeline is unclear.
Yeah.
That we're being generous. We're respecting what you're saying. That's why we say your timeline is unclear, right? But your timeline is pretty clear and listed in the rulebook. But let's just say your timeline is unclear, then let's negotiate. And they're not willing to, and that was our problem.
Yeah,
that was
correct.
we don't have options.
They
Yeah,
just
that would be the case. But they completely bent the entire rule, essentially.
And by the way, the second thing, what's interesting? No beef against Area 77. I'm a big fan of Area 77, right? Like they have been a team in NA for a while. And the issue here is, look at page 7. So you're on page 4 right now, Kumon. Go to page 7 and read the first paragraph.
If the qualifying
read the
team is
rulebook.
unable to arrive the competition location at the specific time for any reason, including visa
Oh, this
issue, regional
rule.
policies, extreme weather, or any other reasons, the MSC committee reserves the right to adjust the allocation of qualifications.
But how are they gonna adjust it specifically? It was not even clearly stated.
Exactly.
That's
That's
the
the
point.
whole point.
That's the
it was
point of
it
the
was
whole
never
thing. That's
it
why.
was never specifically said in the rule book, right? To say
Yeah,
Area
yeah.
77 should qualify for this tournament. So they arbitrarily made up a process. Say, okay, well, because this team cannot go, let's have Area 77 go, right? Now the thing is, if you can have that process made out of thin air, why is it so hard just to ban? If you really hated Hoon and Zane doing HK so much, ban them, take them out.
Take
Don't
them
punish the
out
rest of the
and
players. Get two
Yeah.
subs in
get
for
subs in for
SAUL.
the
They earned
MSC.
their slot. They earned that much at
Yeah,
least, right?
correct.
If you can make that up for the tournament, for the rule that's ineffective, can you at least respect the decency the player pay for everything on their own to participate in
Like-
this tournament?
Because the other 4 guys actually literally came all the way, you know.
And the
just to
org for
play.
supporting in a region. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah, exactly.
the thing about this whole thing is what we realize the rulebook literally does not matter. And the issue here that we have trying to contest is why the bigger foundation, the Esports World Cup Foundation, didn't step in. Well, they tried, but they were trying to give publishers as much flexibility as possible from what we know, right? That's the worst part. That's why we're saying we want to stand with BTK and call for better, more clear, and if you set a rule, follow your rule, right? Otherwise, just don't set a rule. Just say like, because you're gonna interpret the rule however you want. Then what's the freaking point of it then?
And also, Zane wasn't gonna play, right?
Zane probably was not gonna play.
So they only needed to replace one player technically and
Technically,
replace
they
a
just
sub.
only need to replace Hoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
honestly.
so there is a question regarding like, literally, I don't know. Some people just don't understand English, right? Like, I just answered the whole question about the timeline, and there's a guy in the chat that Shizi Seal said, just ask the same question again. You know, from July 10th means the event to be held, not the day of the rulebook. I don't want to go over it again. If you can't understand it, you can't understand it, right? I have to talk through it with some brain cells. And the second thing is like, there's another question. Misaki said, is it true that is CWC set up MLBB not Moonton? I don't know, right? We don't know that. We never know that. What we know is EWC side have tried to work with us as much as they could. Tencent has worked with us as much as they could, because there is a contract signed. This is just a simple sponsorship with Tencent, right? With HOK. So I mean, think about it. It's a live stream sponsorship. After live stream is done, they turn into a VOD. It's staying in your channel, right? Basic, standard, right? So Tencent, we told them the situation the player cannot play. They agreed for the VOD to be taken down. They said, yeah, go ahead. Players going to EWC comes first. They're being lenient. They said, go ahead and like make this work. Because EWC told us that they can, I mean, at least that's what we heard, is if the VOD is removed, the player can go to EWC. So I would assume it was less EWC, more of just arbitrary power from the publisher. You know, they have made up their mind and it cannot be changed.
They just
That was the biggest issue, because EWC tried to work with us. Yeah, like, we don't understand why they don't have higher power here, because they pay for the whole party.
That's also true.
It's technically right,
Yeah.
Dave, if I'm not mistaken, EWC is supposedly to have like the more of like the higher power, in the sense that because they're like the main organizer, and then all the other companies' games that are involved are like in terms of hierarchy, they're like one tier lower than EWC.
They're like
as an
employer and
organizer.
employee, basically.
Employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Like something like that, if you think it in simple terms.
No, let me put it this way.
I
I don't know
didn't
if you ever been to like a DreamHack, like a game convention or whatever. So EWC is the convention organizer. Let's put it that way. And then
Okay.
and then the companies like Tencent, like Moonton, they are the individual booth. They organize individual events in that convention.
Oh.
Because EWC have League, have Dota, different bunch of games, right? Like
Yeah.
they have chess now this year. They're adding
Yeah, that's
games,
right,
like they're
that's right.
expanding. So all this brands games, they are just one title within EWC. EWC is overarching platform. And the difference here is
see.
usually, if you want to do a, let's say if Mobile Legend want to do an event at DreamHack, they will have to pay a handsome amount of money, right? You have to pay a decent amount of money in order to get a slot in there, or get some, get a booth or get a like a tournament section, right? But for EWC, it's a different type of convention. They are paying for everything. The publishers just have to give them the title. Like for example, Mobile Legends MSC is hosted in EWC, right? But EWC is hosting the whole party.
Okay, I think I understand what you mean now. Okay.
Very different than like
Yeah.
employer-employee situation.
Yeah, it's not really the same. Yeah. I think we had generally, like, I think for most of us here, I think we kind of had that misunderstanding with how EWC actually works in that sense.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for clarifying, actually.
Yeah, like EWC, you go to Saudi Arabia, you buy a ticket. You don't just attend an ML, right? You attend, like, you basically attend this convention. You can go watch whatever you want. There's a park. It's actually super cool. And then if you have the financial means or the availability, schedule-wise, I would recommend to go. It's actually a different experience for sure. They built a whole park for esports. So
Yeah, I've
I
seen
know, it seems so cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all the
I think
titles are competing
I've
in it.
checked that. Yeah.
See, that's why we were so confused, because for sure this not only this is a bad precedent because it's about integrity of esports, and that's what EWC tried to stand for, which is integrity of esports. If you have a rule book and you don't follow just because certain things that we don't understand, then what is there to follow then, right? Because from our understanding, in the past, the reason why there's a publisher holds a final explanation right for the rule, it usually applies when there are two arguing entity. For example, let's say if Team Onyx and then Aurora getting a dispute, right? Like for example, there's a pause one team disagree with, right? And this other team said, oh, that pause ruined my game, right? We lost because that pause. We have to do a rematch. And the other team disagrees, said, no, you guys just sucks, right? Like whatever. And then that's when Moontang comes out and say, we have the final explanation for the rule. And we will say whether we continue or, whether this rematch or happen or not. That's how it's supposed to be used. It's supposed to be used when you're the neutral arbitrator, not when you're using it in your favor. Then what's the point of this rule that we're following?
It's a little decoration.
Yeah. Okay.
I see.
Yeah. No, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with General. I really don't. The sponsorship, I think it's probably misunderstanding. He probably misunderstood what we said, because the same offer was offered to other influencers as well, but it was obviously never confirmed. I think General thought, I watched the same video as well. I don't know if you can watch it as well. It's all false. Everything he said in the video was false, and then he just ranted. Like, you can, don't show the screenshot, but Kookmon can verify the screenshot I sent you. The players are shocked, none of us knew. He didn't reach out to Hoon. He didn't reach out to any one of us. Everything he said was just like, we don't know what the hell he was saying. Like, literally, what just happened? Because the thing is, if it's just his opinion about facts, right? If it like disagree, it's like, okay, well, this is the fact, and I disagree with it. I think both sides are at fault, and then this is what can be done better. Sure, we 100% respect that. But if you come out and say the players signed the participation agreement, which they never did, and he said there's a 3-month, well, whatever he said in the video, nothing was signed. In my video, I mentioned it really clear. Nothing was signed. The only thing player filled out related to EWC was a travel form. That's it. Basically, they're gonna travel, and they filled their passport information. That was it. Nothing was signed. And then, and also the rulebook, he started rambling about anti-competitor clause for no reason, which we don't care. We care about the effective time of that clause, right? Like, we're not retarded. We know there's anti-competitor clause. We host tournaments. Any city have the same clause. Like, it's so weird how that's being brought up. So I don't know. The team said, Hoon said it was weird to him. Like, he said, I think end of the day, because he mentioned it specifically in the video that that he was approached 2 months ago, and then eventually Zayn and Hoon got selected. So probably something related to that.
Maybe. I don't know. I was watching his live stream when he was streaming, but there were so many chats asking about BTK situation. He was like, I don't know, exploded. Poor man. Yeah, I don't know about the whole
I think next
video.
time I talk to Ken, I need to get a
Yeah.
translator, bro.
I don't know about the whole video situation. Apparently, according to Dave, it is not true.
No, I need to talk to Jen.
Yeah,
That's
they're
really
gonna
false
settle
information.
it their own.
Yeah, the thing is, he's not answering. If you can read, he has not been answering us for like a few days now. I don't know what happened. I think he might be pissed, and he's stressed maybe. Because in the video, I think the later half, if you watch the whole video, majority of the video is him ranting about his life. So I don't know what's going on right now. You know.
I think he said he's burnt out. Poor man.
Yeah, he is burnt
Maybe.
out. So
I mean, he's
Yeah.
been bugged by the general. I feel like he's just been generally bugged by the whole community so badly, and I think maybe it wasn't really the right time for him to approach the situation.
no, but
I
it's
feel.
the thing is, you can't spread false information like that and just not.
That's also
Yeah, of course,
true.
of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially.
of course. As in, we understand. It's just that I think
You have a lot of influence.
did
He
not
has a
need
lot
to-
of influence, and then
yeah,
you
he
can't
didn't
just
need
like
to put it up first. I
yeah,
think.
like the most bizarre thing is just like talk to. You don't have to talk if he's mad at me. You don't have to talk to me. Talk to Hoon. Talk to Zane. Talk to Zia. Talk to anyone on PTK side and ask them what happened. Because in his live stream, he mentioned that he didn't know what's going on. He probably was true about that, right? He probably didn't know because it was
Yeah,
shocking.
yeah, he had no idea.
And
yeah.
then he said specifically, "Let me go talk to the players after the live stream." And all we saw was after the live stream, he made a video that was posted at 6 o'clock this morning,
The
Central
rest of the
Time,
BTK
4
guys
a.m. his
didn't
time.
say anything. Oh,
No, the entire team saw it, and everybody was chatting in a
Oh.
private chat, all like, "What just happened?" Like we were all.
oh, isn't he didn't even reach out to the BTK guys too?
No, he never reached out to any one of us. He never reached out to the
Oh.
players. He never reached out to me. I don't know what happened.
Okay, I see.
And that's like I personally, we have a really good relationship with Jen. Really good relationship with Jen. And then
Right.
I don't know what, I think he just stressed out, and then it just happened to be a bad timing. All I want is just like
Yeah,
I don't want to put any blame. Just like, yeah, bro. Just,
Yeah, of course. Understood. But yeah, maybe I think it's best just maybe like whenever he's able to answer, when he's in a better position, then yeah, I think it's best to talk to him first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I don't know, man. This was so, dude. This morning I got so many messages. Did you see Jen's video? This is Jen's video. What the hell is going on?
To be honest, even I was a little bit shocked when I watched Jen's video. I was like, I don't know, like even not gonna lie to me, actually personally, having watched Jen for a long time, I don't know, like this video kind of, I can understand a little bit, but at the same time, it felt a little bit out of his normal personality. It did not feel like it was really him to some degree. Like just to my opinion when I first saw it. So yeah, so I'm glad Dave you kind of came out to actually tell us about this, because we had no idea. About how
I had
bad
no
the
idea,
case was.
bro. I wish him fine. I hope he's fine. It's just weird that he did that. I just wish to talk to any one of us, a single person. This will never happen, because everything he said in the first half of the video, until he started ranting about his life, everything in the actual related to the event was false. There was nothing that he mentioned in there was remotely close to accurate. The player didn't sign anything, and he just randomly assumed it's effective for 3 months. I don't know. It seems really fishy. Like why is that? And by the way, it's very heavily scripted. Right? Like it just looks weird. I don't know what happened. So, all right, that's about it. Thank you for the talk. I appreciate it, Kookimon.
Thank you for clearing things out.
Thanks a
Yes.
lot for clarifying, Dave. Really
Yes,
appreciate you coming in
guys, you
to
got
talk
your
to us.
questions answered that I couldn't answer.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
good, easy work.
No, I just saw a lot of bots, because literally I saw the same comment in some other streams. I was like, yo, bro, what the hell is this? It's literally the
They
same,
just
same
copy
exact.
pasted it, I think, everywhere. It's not even just
Yeah.
bots. I think these people just copy pasted everything all over. I mean, the Clippers
Yeah.
have been farming like crazy too. I've seen like the same people repetitively spamming the same thing again and again. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's okay. Anyway, thank you. Think I'll talk to y'all later. Okay.
Okay, bye
Have a good one.
Yeah. Thanks a lot,
Bye.
Dave.
Thank
Take care,
you.
Dave. Take care.
Thank you.
Guys,
All right, guys.
that's
Hope
about
that
the
answers
drama.
everything, that's good, guys.
We had the expert here for you guys who were confused.
Yeah.
Hope you guys are more aware of
Directly
the
got
situation
answer
now.
from the man himself.
Yes. Talking with
Yes.
the actual person involved in the situation, you know?
Yeah.
How are you doing? I'm doing good, guys. How are you guys doing?
Also,
Long time
one
no
last thing
see.
also, we need to thank Phil. One of the YouTubers actually came up
Phil?
to actually do a stream. Phil,
Hi,
like
Phil.
somewhere up in the chat. Phil was actually like talking inside the chat.
Hope you
'cause
guys
he
are
made a
still
reaction
here.
Video of he made a reaction video of the whole BTK drama itself actually as a complete outsider of MLBB. Like he's no relevance in context of MLBB, but like he heard about the EWC situation, then he actually posted a video sharing his thoughts for quite a bit, and like he actually came into your stream to actually talk briefly, said
I
hi.
see.
Yeah, 'cause Wayne was
What?
handling that while
What?
Dave was here too.
Anyway, if you're still here, hi. Nice to meet you, Phil. And so for NA community, yeah, it is very unfortunate
He's here.
situation.
Yeah, he's here.
Oh,
Yeah,
hi,
he is
hello.
He's here.
But hey, I think if you care about the pro scene in NA, most people saw this happening. Not this abruptly in this extreme way, but
Yeah.
I guess in a way this is the end of an era. You know, NA region
Sadly.
will be not having pro scene anymore, it seems like, from what's going on from multiple videos that we've watched
no
today.
M7 slot.
No
Yep,
M7,
yep.
no NACTs. I don't know about MWI. Maybe no MWIs either. I don't know. But
Essentially, I think the whole thing is just ejected, to be honest.
yeah, so like that's it. I know. Also, I need to clarify this, guys. I know I made a pretty extreme post. I don't know when exactly, bro. It feels like a week
2 days
since
ago.
I did that,
2 days
but
ago.
it's only been 2 days. 2 days ago, I
2 days
posted
ago.
something on YouTube channel post, and it was
Yeah.
kind of an extreme statement. And at the time, I was told to post that image and hashtag, so I did in a way to support the team because I felt really, I still do feel bad for the team. And I removed it because even though I still support the team, I thought the solution suggested in a post was pretty extreme.
It's a
I
bit
would
harsh.
say, yeah,
Yeah.
aggressive. Not really
Yeah.
what I would do personally. So yeah, I think a lot of pro players will stop playing Mobile Legends in NA. I mean, there's really no reason for them, right? There's no tournaments. They're not going to be having a chance to join tournaments to earn money, win anything. So, realistically speaking, I think a lot of the pro players will indeed move on to different games, maybe Honor Kings, maybe I don't know what else. But yeah, yeah, AOV exists. Oh, okay. AOV too. I don't know about that game. Never tried that, but I think that's a high chance probability situation thing that will be happening. But I am not a pro player. Just stating out here. So in case you see me doing it, you won't come at me like trying to kill me. You can't please everyone in this world. That's one thing I definitely learned from streaming. Whatever I say, some people like it, some people don't like it, some people take it the wrong way, some people edit it, crop it, all that thing. But I'm not a pro player, I'm just a casual player. I think I have the right to play whatever games I want. Yes, I will not be spending any money in a way to support the team or, you know, little grudge, little, how dare you kind of thing. Little, I'm not going to support you. in a momentary, like in a with like finance money, but you know, you might see me maybe in like a month or two, maybe like, you know, just don't try to kill me if that ever happens, okay? I said it here first.
Chill out, guys. Chill out, guys.
Chill out, chill out. Yes, so for me, for pro players, I think that's what's gonna happen. For me, yes, I will be playing some Honor of Kings. The game is pretty nice, we're not, but I think I will also probably, not in the near future, anytime soon, because I'm still like, ugh, Monton, how dare you. But I'm just saying, like, I highly probably will, might be back in this game, just as a casual, being back to random troll in a ranking, maybe. You know, the game sucks. I know, I told you many times. It's a toxic boyfriend relationship. You know he sucks. He's full of red flags. He's literally probably the worst option you have, but you know, it is what it is. HOK, isn't it? I like the game. It's just the learning curve is a little yeah, I need to, it's just, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I might resort back to the comfort game, you know, the game I already know how to play, you know, kind of like
new.
Yeah,
Everyone is learning at the same time, I think.
Yes, like I will try to learn. I will try my best to learn everything and or anything on HOK. But you know, I might sometimes give up and you know, jump back and forth and back and forth.
You know, just play whatever you want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
when you feel
I do support the team. I will say here, I will not do anything that will benefit Monton in the near future. Definitely not. No money. I haven't spent money on that game for like last 5 years either, guys. Like I have not added to ML profit.
yeah.
So they've had pick Zayn and Hoon for the sponsorship or up to HOK. Probably HOK, no? They're the biggest streamer, no?
They chose.
And then it goes to Jen, who's
Yes,
also a big streamer, but
yeah, we don't know what clearly happened.
I don't
there.
know either, guys.
Like,
But I
these are
heard
probably
a
full
lot
time.
of huge, like big figures, big names are moving to HOK, not just NA region, but like in other regions as well.
Especially PH.
Yeah, so guys.
Doki, Yaoi, H2O, Renege, Sumpak all moved to HOK.
Yeah, don't take this like, oh, they're only moving because MLBB doesn't like them. No, I think it's a trend. I think it's a ongoing trend.
For a while.
You know?
Like a lot of the big names from the Philippines and some
money's
regions
involved.
are just moving
Yeah.
away.
And I
But
think
it's just happening right now.
Money is a motivator.
money is also a motivation. But also on a in NA region they were, I guess, more ready for it, planning on it, because money is in motivation and opportunity is also a motivation, and Mobile Legend was not giving any more opportunities to the pro players in NA. So you know, remember when BTK had a 5-man HOK stream? That was kind of funny. I watched that stream when they were completely lost, not knowing what to do. Literally me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think they might have been mentally prepared for it, but not in this manner, not in this behavior treatment situation whatsoever.
Definitely feel for all the guys, man. Like, you know, hopefully like something, you know, hopefully they all do well with whatever that lies ahead of them now. And, you know, like,
I trust them. I think they will be really good. They're fucking pro players. They've been pro players almost, I don't know how long, but a pretty long time. I think they can adjust really well.
You know? With them, especially with BTK.
Yeah.
I feel like they're like one of the most adaptable groups of people.
Yeah, exactly. They were, I think, big in AOV, I heard. And Hoon had Wild Rift experience. And then like, and then Mobile Legend, and now HOK will be a new chapter for them, honestly. And I hope you guys support them, and me as well, since I'm here too. But yeah,
that being said, also I think let's not forget, for MSC, at least like since NA has one last representative, guys, don't hate on A77, guys, because A77
Yeah.
definitely
That's also like Area 77 didn't know this was coming either. Like I'm pretty sure they were just chilling in their home and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, wait,
With
BTK,
Home
what? We are replacing like they are in a tough hot spot as well. Like,
I
you
don't know
know,
where Dodge is at right now. I heard that he took a flight. I think they are like at a
yeah, they
somewhere in
might
the
be
Philippines
somewhere
now.
trying to practice now, but like, see, they probably want to support NA region too. But they also have this new role to play, current NA representative. They need to
Yeah,
do
so
their
it's a lot of
best,
pressure,
but if they're
and they need the support, guys.
yeah,
They really need support, guys.
support everyone, guys. Support
Yeah.
NA. Thank you.
Especially since,
Support
especially
BTK, Dave, Area 77, me, goes with General. I mean, like, I shouldn't be asking you guys to support all these bigger influences out there, but I'm just saying, let's be,
support NA in general. Let's
you
be
know,
nice to everyone.
nice people. No
Yeah.
need to be toxic. We only be toxic in game, guys. Out of the game, in reality, let's just
We're
be
just
nice.
normal people.
Yes.
Be nice. Be kind to one another. Yeah.
Yes. Imagine Area 77 shocked the MLB world and got into top 3. What do you mean?
Hey, you
They're
never
gonna
know.
get top
You never
1.
know.
They're gonna win this thing.
That's hard to predict, though, guys.
Yes. But anyway, I think that's it for today. Oh my god, I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Been only watching videos, so time flew. But I'm sorry that you guys had to watch similar information over and over again. But I hope this is the last time you hear this or watch these infos. But
This is the last time we will talk about
the last
this.
time you'll talk
yes,
about
well, this is the last time we'll
Yeah.
talk about it.
this. Yeah, no more
And
questions, guys. No more from here on.
honestly, also, if you're free, type some comment after I end the stream on this live stream. Suggest some games I could play. Do you guys want to play like Stardew Valley? You guys want to play Power? Do you guys want to play any
We
games
can
with
play
me?
Pokemon.
I'm down to play whatever games you guys want to play. We can play together. Like on our King stream, I was playing with y'all. So, multi-game streamer arc incoming maybe. I don't know, but
We
yes.
can play Pokemon.
Yes.
Scarlet Violet.
Pokemon too.
No.
Anyway, guys, I'll let yo SG people go to sleep. Thank you. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Finally.
Thanks.
Thank you
Made me
so
proud
much.
when Dave said, "Who are these nice gentlemen in your VC?" I have the best people around me, I feel like. Thank you. Guys, that's it for me. Have a nice rest of your day. Hope you are stressing less about this issue and more on your happiness in real life. Yeah, whatever time zone you're at, have a nice rest of your day. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, people in Asia. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. Good night, y'all. Have a nice rest of your day. Love y'all. I will hopefully
guys.
stream
See you
sometime
guys.
soon.
Take care.
Bye. Like, subscribe. Yeah, like, subscribe, follow. All that good thing. Watch my videos, reels. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.